Hey guys. This is part 3 of What If Naruto Killed Sasuke. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start. Chapter 19. So, he says their base is in AIM? Not easy to get into, but I can manage. Guess I'll be leaving soon. Not alone, you won't. Yes, alone. I work alone. Hell, I've never even ran a mission with Naruto. I just trained the brat. Jiraiya, you are not going there alone. That is final. Why so insistent? You starting to fall for me? If you didn't have a mission to go to, I'd pound you into the floor, she said, shaking her fist. Fine, fine, he said, submissively waving his hands. I'll go with one other person, but no masks. What's your problem with ANBU? They'd be ideal for this level of infiltration. Because they're weird and I always feel left out. I'm surrounded by idiots, responded Tsunade before face-palming. What about Anko? Jiraiya asks, trying to get back on track. She's been going hard at our guest, needs a rest. Then Tsunade has an idea. How about an Anko-trained former mask? Jiraiya takes a moment before who Tsunade is referring to. She's a clan head. Since when does being a clan head mean you aren't a ninja? Besides, she's one of my best infiltrators and can hold her own in a fight if need be. Fine, let her know we leave tomorrow. I'm never traveling by toad again. It wasn't that bad. It was entirely that bad. Activating her Byakugan, and this isn't normal rain. Likely some type of detection jutsu. Whoever created it knows we are here. Shit, then scan for the largest chakra reserves. That'll likely be where we need to head. If they've already been alerted, shouldn't we not press our luck? Element of surprise is gone, normally, but 2 of the members Hayden described sounded familiar. I need to see if it's really them. I may be able to talk to them. Okay, I can see 8 chakra signatures in that northwest tower. 7 of them are weird, but I don't know how to explain it. Guess we'll just have to figure it out once we get there. Yay, she said, not bothering to hide the sarcasm. The battle was fierce, doing a significant amount of damage to the tower. Jiraiya had managed to subdue all of the false bodies, sealing them so they couldn't be reactivated, and was standing in front of his former students, Nagato and Konan, who herself looked worse for wear while she was holding a, hopefully unconscious Hinata. Konan, did you really have to use that many explosive notes? Konan scratched the back of her head. She was tougher than I was expecting, kept soaking me or shocking me. Kinda surprised I only knocked her out, honestly. Ah, understandable. Hey sensei, you defeated my paths. You're still pretty strong for an old guy, Nagato said. I'm not that old brat. But what is this? What happened to you and why are you doing this? We were set up by Hanzo and one of your elders named Danzo. It is what killed Yahiko, and my response caused me to require this setup. Not ideal, but we moved one. As far as why I'm doing this, it's for peace. You can have each major village contain a super weapon or 2 and think you're going to have peace. But if one nation had all the super weapons and had the potential to cause a great deal of pain, everyone else would share that pain. They couldn't bother fighting amongst themselves when a larger threat existed. They'd bond over that shared threat and learn to work together, learn to see the boundaries between villages as imaginary, and see the shared humanity within each other. Jiraiya was struck by his student's words, understanding the merits of his goals and conceding the logic in the plan. Nagato, that isn't the worst plan for peace I've ever heard, but I can't allow you to do this. I won't allow you to sacrifice my godson. There are other ways than threatening the elemental nations with the combined power of the 9 Biju. Like what? If you have the answer, sensei, then tell me. With 2 of the Biju needing to reform and 3 yet to be extracted, a change in our plan may be necessary, so tell me your plan. I don't have it, but callously sacrificing those who are some of the greatest victims of the shinobi system is wrong. They deserve peace as much as anyone. I don't disagree, but once again, you have no alternative. I don't enjoy hurting these poor souls, being sacrificed yet again, but I see no other way. I've yet to see another way, and I've wanted to, sensei. But it eludes me at every turn. Fine, Nagato, just give me some time. Put a pause on this plan and we can come up with something together, sensei. Okay. Take the girl and go, wheel. Madara, stop. Nagato shouts, but to no avail as the kunai had already entered Jiraiya's neck, the sannin quickly bleeding out. Why did you do that? That was senseless. Shut up, just shut up. There will be no change in plans. We will extract the Biju. All of the Biju, and that's final. Konan, lock her up with the 7 tails. Zetsu. Yes, Madara-sama? Come, I have a message for you to deliver to Konoha. It's time for my favorite pet to be returned to me. Nagato, make sure your shinobi are ready for an assault. Uzumaki will be here in a few days' time. Outside of AIM stood 5 Konoha shinobi. They are clearly expecting us, given the amount of squads stationed there, said Niji. Have you spotted Hinata yet? Asked Naruto. Yes, she's in a tower, but getting there won't be easy. I'll make sure you can get there, just get there. Also, be cautious of someone wearing an orange and black swirled mask. He likely will be coming for me, but just in case, don't try to fight him. Yash, when do we begin our youthful assault? Asked Guy. Naruto began performing a series of hand seals before stopping for a moment, and performing some more. Sandaime style, vacuum bomb, Naruto said before unleashing his original jutsu upon AIM shinobi. But he wasn't done yet. Mass shadow clone jutsu, he said, creating 400 shadow clones. Team Guy didn't have time to gawk at the extensive damage done by that jutsu nor the amount of shadow clones created by Naruto before he started giving orders. I need 6 of you with me, the rest go with Team Guy. Get to that tower, get Hinata back and retreat. Don't wait for me. We aren't leaving without you. That's an order, Tenten. Now you know what to do, Naruto said and then shunshined away. Guy quickly got command of his team and his clone arm and they marched on AIM, surprising all when each clone activated their own Raijin no Ken. He trusted that Team Guy would make it to the tower while Naruto headed toward the center of the village, cutting down any AIM nin that crossed his path. Their formations were lackluster. They clearly had never planned for an attack on the village, and that disorganization allowed Naruto to dispatch the squads with minimal effort. Once he made it to the center, he was greeted by his target. Little fox, so nice of you to make it. Come to give me what's mine, I see. Come to die like a good boy. Your end will be ugly, your end will be undignified, and you will die on your knees, Uchiha Naruto warned before he and his clones covered the area with Hiraishin kunai. Your father couldn't kill me with that. What makes you think you can? I thought you'd have something different for me, little fox. As he was gloating, the Naruto clones flashed away, surrounding Madara, and started performing a series of hand seals. Madara, too amused by what he was seeing, didn't attempt to phase away from the potential attack. Oh, what is this, little fox? He said, and soon found himself surrounded in a dome of few ninjutsu seals large enough to cover the roof they were occupying. He put his focus back on the original Naruto, and saw the blonde dashing toward him, his kodachi drawn. Madara could only smirk at the foolishness of the boy and decided to wait to the last minute to demonstrate that head-on physical attacks will not touch him, only to find himself stabbed on the right side of his body and receiving a spin kick to the head, hard enough to shatter his mask. You know, to manipulate time and or space one must do so from a stable point of time and space. But if you were to somehow make an area unstable, then you cannot say using the Hiraishin nor that cheating ass bitch eye of yours to avoid punishment. I know where I stabbed you didn't do much damage, it was a warning. I could have ended this in one shot. Curious why I didn't? Because you're stupid, Madara said before removing the kodachi and throwing it away. No, Obito and I, it isn't that at all. See, you will die screaming, that is assured, but I need you to understand the depths of your failure. Ours is not a story of me facing and falling against insurmountable odds. Ours is not the dynamic of a scrappy underdog against an overwhelming force. Ours is the story of a sad, little bitch that allowed the single greatest threat to his existence to mature. To allow the kunai meant for his throat to become as sharp as it could for as long as it could. It's the story of a failure and a coward that will die how he lived. Rin isn't waiting for you, Obito. She won't be there. Failures don't get to be comforted by their dream goals in the pure world. There is nothing but unrelenting darkness. You will not even be a footnote to history. So, come, little Uchiha. Come and embrace your end. How? The now identified Obito asked, shocked that Naruto had figured out his heavily guarded secret. Kakashi used to talk about you and how much he regretted concerning you. Figured since I killed a teammate I could relate, for one. I've seen your ability. I've seen Kakashi demonstrate a similar one, for 2. You both have 1 Sharingan eye, opposite sides of your face, for 3. But no more talk, Niken, death awaits you. Hearing this, Obito performs the hand seals for the fire style, Grand Fireball Jutsu, to only have it met with Naruto's water style, Water Bullet Jutsu. Obito attempts another jutsu, only to be interrupted by Naruto's charge, his single remaining kodachi looking to gravely wound the former Konoha nin. Obito matches Naruto's strikes with 8 of his Sharingan, but a wind chakra extended blade on his blind side leads to a gash on his left shoulder, which Obito responds to with a kick to Naruto's abdomen. The two renew their exchange, Naruto managing to cut but not critically wound Obito, with Obito landing counters but not really hurting Naruto. Obito does manage to disarm Naruto of his last kodachi but takes a right high kick to his neck for the effort, and rolls away from Naruto, trying to understand how he could be losing to this kid. Is this it? No wonder you need the bijou. You can't accomplish anything on your own, Obito and I. Is this why Rinchan preferred Kakashi and I? Did you know those two got close before Rin died? You know, closer than she would have ever been with you. Her best friend. She probably didn't even see you as a male, just some genderless clown that amused her. Feeling a new level of rage, Obito launches another Katan Jutsu, fire style, Great Fire Annihilation Jutsu. Seeing the massive flame headed for him, Naruto unrolls a scroll and activates the fire suppression seal. Taking advantage of the momentary distract, Obito stabs at Naruto, managing to plunge a kunai in his left shoulder. I should have put a kunai in your head instead of placing that explosive note on you, he said as he takes a series of follow-up swipes at Naruto, each failed attempt making him more and more unhinged. Obito tries for an overhand stab with his left hand, but it is blocked. Thinking quickly, Obito drops the kunai and catches it with his right hand, but before he can continue his assault, Naruto rotates to his right, stabbing Obito in the back of his left leg. Not easing up for a second, he quickly forms a Rasengan and hits Obito in the back, tearing through the man's artificial body and launching him near the barrier surrounding them. Focusing Kurama's chakra, Naruto manages to heal the stab wound before he readies for another exchange, deciding to taunt the missing Uchiha. Just as I thought. That I allowed you to avoid responsibility. No attack could touch you, no defense could stop you, so you let everything else slide, didn't you? 60 clones, 10 hours a day for 2.5 years. That's how long it took me to come up with this barrier, with the ability to take away your greatest advantage. But that wasn't nearly enough. No, not at all. As soon as Naruto said this, the symbol started to change and then began to flow toward Obito, condensing as it did. Moments later, Obito starts clutching his shoulder in pain. His soul onyx eye looks up to a pair of blues. What did you do to me? I sealed your chakra. Seriously, had my dad just put a chakra suppression seal on you, he could have saved us some trouble, but it is what it is. So, any last words? We could have had true peace, you selfish little shit. Well, I never intended to remember them anyway, but your last words suck. Now, to make good on my threat. You know, I was able to view my parents' memories along with Kurama's on that night. When you ripped Kurama from her, something that would have been incredibly painful, I noticed she didn't scream. She knew it would kill her, but her only concern was for me. Naruto said with a single unshed tear. So, how best to dispatch her killer? To show him he wasn't half the ninja she was, to give away that final lie. Naruto starts to walk behind Obito, annealing Obito. Your life is defined by your failures, as an Uchiha, as a shinobi, as a friend, and now as a man. You were never going to succeed, you were always going to fail. So, you believe in fate now? The neutralized Uchiha asks. Ha, no, asshole. A failure can be more if they have the guts to face themselves and never give up. You turned away from the world, ran from your pain instead of living through it. However, I do have to take something back. You'll actually succeed at something the Uchiha did best. What's that? Being killed by a Senju, Naruto replied before activating the Raijin no Ken and beheading the traitorous Nin in a single motion. Releasing the barrier, Naruto sees dozens of fallen AIM Nin around his shadow clones. Seeing the massacre surrounding them, he can only quirk an eyebrow as if to ask, "Are you for real?" Seeing the unasked question, one clone responds, "They just kept coming, boss. We didn't have much choice. Granted, but 3 of you did all that. We're you. How are you surprised?" Another clone shot back. "Fair enough," he said as they continued toward the tower, faintly hearing the screams of a broken, dying man. Team Guy plus the clone army pushed their way to the tower. Once there, the team cleared a path for Tenten to get to the holding cells in case they were guarded by any defensive seals. Once there, and noticing a lack of guards, Tenten managed to free Hinata, who was relieved to see her friend, and the Jinchuriki Fu, who had been captured by Itachi and Kisame but had yet to have her bijou extracted. Hinata made her way to the armory while Tenten directed a half-starved Fu toward her team. Hinata returned to Tenten, having retrieved her ninjato, and start back toward the team before Hinata interjects. "Tenten, we can't leave yet. I saw it, the statue they've sealed the bijou in, and we need to do something to it before we go. Our mission is to get you out of here, that'll have to wait." But Jiraiya died for this information. We may never get another chance, and Akatsuki is weak. Weighing following orders versus preempting future issues, Tenten reluctantly agrees and follows Hinata to the statue. As the two are running toward the statue, both get a sense that they are being followed. Seeing an empty room up ahead, Hinata directs Tenten there in hopes of bringing the threat out into the open. Tenten unseals the Kiba blades and Hinata unsheathes her ninjato as they prepare for their tale. It is Hinata's activated Byakugan that allows her to narrowly dodge the strike from behind and see the assailant merge with the ground. He can merge with the ground, and once he does, I can't see him anymore. Hearing this, Tenten drops her blades and retrieves 6 kunai, throwing them so each lands on a wall, the ceiling, or the floor. Uzumaki style, 6-point lighting barrier Tenten activates while Zetsu was being attacked by Hinata. Seeing his ability to merge with surfaces inhibited, Zetsu starts forming wood vines and spears attempting to impale the Konoha kunoichi, but is foiled as each manages to avoid a fatal strike but have received superficial damage. Realizing an extended battle will not favor them, Tenten forms a plan. Hinata, throw your ninjato at him, Tenten says. Not quite understanding her plan but trusting her nonetheless, Hinata sends Raiten chakra through her blade and immediately throws it towards Zetsu, only for him to tilt his head to the side, easily avoiding the blade. He was not, however, prepared for the substitution Tenten made with her blade, nor was he fast enough to prevent her from beheading him with her kiba blades. Running through a series of hand signs, Tenten drops the lightning barrier just in time to be forced into a bear hug, one she had to share with Hinata. Tenny, you did it! You know I hate when you call me that, right? Pfft, our love is too strong for you to hate anything about me, Tenny. If my arms were free I'd stab you. So hurtful, he replies, relinquishing the hug. Turning to check over Hinata, he can't mask the relief he feels that she appears to be okay. You had me a little worried there, Haim. Naruto said, cupping her cheek. I had things handled. I was just about to make my move. She replied. I told Tenten as much. She just looks for reasons to use those damn swords. Swords, you got me. Tenten said. I really am fine, but we need to end this. Agreed. But you two need to get back to the team so I can finish this. No, Naruto, you don't have to face this alone. I know I don't have to, but if I have to go all out, then being around me won't be safe. Both kunoichi wanted to fight him on this, but ultimately decided to head back to the other leaf Nin as Naruto ran toward the final members of the Akatsuki, knowing this could be the end of the organization. Reaching the chamber the two were stationed, Naruto blasted the doors down with a Rasengan while having another formed and ready in his other hand. Naruto Uzumaki, the pale and sickly-looking man, started. I believe we need to talk. Chapter 20. Sure, let's chat. I hope your last words are better than that Uchiha I just dealt with. You killed Madara? Impossible, said Konan. No, Konan, he's not lying. I can feel it, Madara is gone. Are you too sure you want to spend your final moments confirming he's dead? You're both going to greet him soon enough. But whatever, no more talking, stated Naruto before he started to form a Rasen Shuriken. Wait, there are no need for hostilities, Naruto. To which Naruto laughed, but curious, he disabled his jutsu. You formed an organization with the express purpose of murdering me. You can't fathom the need I have to be hostile toward you. Add to that you killed my sensei and I'm finding it hard to be anything but hostile toward you. First of all, I didn't kill Jiraiya, Madara did. Secondly, Jiraiya isn't dead, he's resting in a private room secured by chakra masking seals so Madara wouldn't know. I never intended to kill sensei, nor did I just want to murder you for the sake of murdering you. It wasn't personal. You strapping me to a table to rip something out of me is the definition of personal. Also, what do you mean, sensei? Jiraiya trained both of us and our late friend when we were kids. Not long, but long enough to survive. As for the bijou, we only wanted them as a means to bring peace to the lands. I asked this of Jiraiya, but I'll ask it of you, Naruto. How would you achieve peace? I don't want to talk about peace with you. That's Jiraiya's deal. I'm not interested in having a philosophical discussion with you. You and those like you, I can't stand people like you. Suffer some pain and decide that entitles you to do whatever you wish. Speak of grandiose goals like peace, but expect other people to make the big sacrifices, to give their all while you only give enough to ensure you're around to reap the benefits. Bija and Jinchuriki didn't ask for any of this, but you hunted us. Those scorned by the very people we protect, isolated with a potentially hostile being sealed in you isn't exactly fun, but that wasn't enough, was it? When you decided it, our lives meant nothing. Why would you care? We've already been sacrificed once, right? You are right, Naruto. When we started the plan to capture and extract the bijou, we didn't consider their containers anything but unfortunate souls that had to pay a steep price for the good of all, to my lasting shame. What is it, Naruto? Just, what the entire fuck, man? I've been training for years to fight people who had, in all honesty, been portrayed as just shy of demonic. You capture my friend, kill Sensei, and it's a lot to deal with. I don't know what this is, and I'm starting to feel really bad about what I did to your shinobi. And now you want to talk about peace. How am I to talk about peace? I just committed mass murder. This is what I've become because I thought I needed to in order to deal with you. What the hell do I know about peace? I've never known it. I've had to swim in hate my entire life. I understand, Naruto. The shinobi world can twist us into something unrecognizable. It has to me to the point I just continued the very cycle I intended to stop. When we lost our friend Yahiko due to a double cross from Hanzo, I gave into madness and eventually proclaimed myself a god. And while I've had my doubts about Madara, I just was so sure of my path. You may not believe it, but the Akatsuki weren't a bad group of guys. I wish I had directed them towards a better goal, but their lives will just have to be added to an already long list of regrets. Nagato says and then pauses as if considering something, then smiles softly. Don't let your actions weigh too heavily upon you, Naruto. At least allow me to make amends. I don't want to be the thing that forms you into something unrecognizable, said Nagato, much to Konan's dismay. Nagato, you can't, it's too taxing. But I have to. We haven't been very good protectors of AIM, Konan. If we want peace, we should have started here, and you still can. This is the least I can do, Nagato said before turning toward Naruto. Naruto, you are blessed with great power, and I can feel you have room to grow. Just don't become arrogant like I did and believe yourself a god. Mercy is harder than wrath. Forgiveness is riskier than hatred, but I request you do what I could not. Find that which can bring us together, Nagato said with a smile before performing Outer Path, Samsara of heavenly life, and was enrobed in a bright light. Moments later, the light died down, and what was left was a dead yet smiling Nagato and a teary Konan. What did he do? He erased your sin. Every shinobi killed today, Nagato attempted to bring them back to life, so you no longer have their deaths on your conscience. If you excuse me, I need to see toward my friend, Konan said, preparing to remove Nagato's body. Naruto gave a slight nod, still out of sorts regarding the events of the day. So deep in thought, Naruto didn't notice Konan was gone as he aimlessly wandered around the large room that contained Nagato. Naruto eventually turned to look at the Ghetto Mazo, feeling strangely drawn to it. Naruto, go to that statue and channel some of my chakra into it while touching it, said Kurama. Naruto, trusting his friend and partner, did just that and immediately blacked out. Moments later it awoke in a dark room with only illuminated by a few candles at the opposite end. It was faint, but Naruto could sense a presence, or multiple presences. He was startled when he heard a voice beckoning him forward. Sensing Kurama wanted him to follow, Naruto approached the voice cautiously until he could see an older man with eyes like Nagato. There is no need to be wary of me. Besides, it's been too long since we've last seen each other. After the man said that, the dark room became fully illuminated and Naruto saw Shikaku, Matabi, Aisabu and Saiken, and Naruto found himself on top of Kurama. Old man, is this really him? Asked Kurama. Yes, it is, he said with a kind smile. It's nice to see you again, Azura. 1 month later. It had been 1 month since Naruto had entered the Ghetto Mazo, and it has been a trying month with the new information and abilities he has. He was heading back to the village with Jiraiya, but between the two were 2 cloaked figures. Naruto, Jiraiya, and an army of clones spent their time in AIM doing something that might upset the balance of the 5 great shinobi villages. After speaking with Hagoromo, or as Naruto called him, Super Gramps, Naruto knew he had to discover a way to stop the bijou from being sealed again. The obvious answer were seals, but design said seals would not be easy. After consulting with a hesitant Jiraiya and even seeking advice from Kushina and Minato, the 4 Fuinjutsu users came to the conclusion that if the tailed beasts were connected to an area or realm like animal summons, then they couldn't be sealed in someone. They could always just return to their realm. Creating the seals to make their preferred roaming grounds in the elemental nations and artificial realm was a masterwork of time/space Fuinjutsu. Since being acknowledged as the reincarnation of his son, and the son they all preferred, the bijou selected the Senju compound to be the place they'd return to if they were ever at risk of being summoned, and because they can actually control their sizes, it won't cause a panic if they should. Welcome back, Jiraiya-sama, Naruto-sama. Who are your guests? The guard asked. That is currently classified, but no, they are under our care until Tsunade says otherwise, stated Jiraiya. Not willing to question the sage, the guard waves the 4 on and they head to Tsunade's office. When the 4 arrive in her office, Tsunade was in the middle of a meeting with Hiruzen. A customary shout at Jiraiya to use the door only distracts Tsunade briefly before she asks about the 2 cloaked individuals. The 2 reveal themselves to the shock of the current and former Hokage. How is this possible? Asked Tsunade. It's thanks to Naruto, replied Minato, which causes Tsunade to look at her son with a mixture of emotions. I didn't use the Edo Tensei if that's what you're wondering. Ka-chan, we have a lot to talk about. It's been an eventful month. Before he could continue, all in the room felt Kushina's unrestrained killing intent, directed toward Hiruzen. Minato tried placing a calming hand on her shoulder, but it did little to quell her output. How could you? I left my family for the sake of this village. We sacrificed our lives and our son, and you dishonor us with mistrust and cowardly put mind-altering seals on us. You actively violate your own laws along with the laws of the Fire Daimyo and disgrace our only child. He may have forgiven you, but I never will, and that goes for the rest of the trash in this village. Minato should have taken Naruto and run, leaving this place to its fate. Kushina, shut up, Minato. Just because you feel they were worth it doesn't mean I have to. Even your own sensei couldn't be bothered with your son. He flung him off a cliff. Thank Kami, Naruto and Tsunade found each other, and he managed to have the few friends he did. Hiruzen, you allowed this village to torture my son. I'll never not hate you for that, she says, and then shins away. Minato, I'm sorry, I've thought a lot about what I'd say to Kushina and you should we ever meet again, but I have no explanation nor any excuses. I could have done more for Naruto, I know, and I didn't. I'm ashamed at my past actions against him. You'll never know. Hiruzen, you've made mistakes, and while I was angered by them, you've attempted to make amends. Sometimes being Hokage leads you to do things you never otherwise consider. Kushina may never forgive you, but I do. Minato replied to Naruto's scoff, causing Jiraiya to narrow his eyes at his last apprentice. Naruto, now is not the time. I didn't say anything, sensei, so I'd appreciate not being admonished like some child. You didn't, but you were going to, said Jiraiya. So we're back to judging me on things I might do in the future? Don't worry, teach me a jutsu and I'm sure Yondaime-sama will pardon you. Naruto replied. We're getting off track. Naruto, please just provide your report, said Tsunade, while Naruto explained everything that happened in AIM, including being able to bring his parents back partially due to them sealing a chakra imprint inside of him and also due to his yin-yang release. Kushina had gone to catch up with her longtime friend, Tsum. The two spoke for hours after Tsum stopped apologizing for not being there for Naruto, which Kushina informed her wasn't her fault. Kushina stayed until late before heading to the Senju compound, as her and Minato's home needed a thorough cleaning before it'd be inhabitable again. Since they would have to announce the return of the Yellow Flash and the Red Death, Hiruzen had suggested telling everyone they faked their deaths to prepare for the threat of the man that attacked Kushina. Seeing it a better option then, my son has godlike abilities, Minato agreed and would inform Kushina later that night. They had also agreed to make the announcement in 3 days' time, which Naruto instantly asked to be assigned a mission out of the village, which was promptly denied. Once his debrief was completed, Naruto went to spend some time with Hinata, informing her of the return of his parents and all that entailed. The 3 days came and went, though there was a constant feeling of tension within the Senju compound, but nothing came to a head. Shizen, Tsunade and Kushina had all tried to talk to Naruto about what had him so on edge, and he eventually relented, telling them about the assault on AIM. While he's killed before, and everyone he killed had been brought back, Naruto was dismayed at his show of force and the number of ninja he slew. While all three sympathized, the person best suited to help Naruto deal with the guilt of killing that many people is the last person he'd open up to, so outside of some comforting words and hugs, the three were at a loss as to what to do, and Minato wouldn't push the issue as he knew his son tolerated him at best. Currently, the townspeople were gathered in the center of the city, being addressed by their Hokage, many shocked at what she just said. Before words of doubt could be raised, Minato revealed himself to a wave of cheers, the sound enveloping the village. Thank you, Minato said using a voice projection jutsu. Roughly 16 years ago, a tragedy befell our village as the Kyuubi was unleashed upon us, claiming many and changing the lives of others forever. That day was one of compounding tragedies, as it was to be the day my son was born. The Kyuubi has actually been in Konoha almost since its founding. The first container was the wife of the Shodaime, Mito Senju, nee Uzumaki. The second container was my wife Kushina Uzumaki, but during the birthing of our son, a masked man attacked us and freed the Kyuubi from her seal. While I also able to fight the man off, I unfortunately had to seal the Kyuubi and my son to save the village. Kushina and I were ushered to a secure location where we recovered slowly in a medically induced coma, in secret, and have spent that last few years recovering our physical strength. As happy as I am to be back, I must express my shame that what was to be my final wish was ignored by you, that instead of a hero you made my son a pariah. Yes, Naruto Uzumaki Senju is my son, and for those of you that still hold antipathy toward him, I hope you can heed my words this time. Naruto was the real hero of that day, as he never allowed the Kyuubi to escape, and kept you all safe from it since the day of his birth. Thank you, Minato said before flashing away to a stunned silent audience. Many disgusted at how they treated the son of their great hero, others wishing his words to be false. 2 days had passed since the announcement of Minato's return, and Naruto was fighting a growing sense of annoyance. When Minato outed Naruto as his son, anytime Naruto was out in public he'd be mobbed by villagers seeking to apologize or get in good with him. They had also taken to calling him Namikaze-sama, which multiplied his annoyance with them. He'd normally talk to his friends about this, but they were all on missions, even his former ANBU squad. Hell, even Kakashi had been gone since he returned from AIM. So, Naruto was spending some time with Gamakichi at the Senju waterfall, trying not to calm himself. It was almost starting to work until his visitor arrived. "Naruto, can we talk?" "Sure." "Kichi, why don't you go on back? I'll catch up with you later." "Okay, later, bro. What can I do for you, Minato-sama?" "So you're still calling me that? What else am I to call someone of your station, Minato-sama?" "Some people try to, san. Others dad, or maybe even father." "I'm sorry to have disappointed you, Minato-sama." "Naruto, we can't keep doing this. I don't know how to apologize to you. I don't know how to earn your forgiveness because you won't tell me. Aren't the villagers treating you better? Isn't that a start?" "No, it isn't a start. No villager has dared to mistreat me since the invasion, nor would they. I had demonstrated I wasn't weak. How can I accept their change in behavior when it fits perfectly with my growth and ability? Where was all that when I was too weak to stop them? It isn't perfect, but Naruto, they have changed. That has to count. You can't hold a grudge against them. They were acting out of ignorance, grief, and fear. So, you are not that heartless, Naruto. Why shouldn't I be? I was an orphan. I essentially had no one until I met my friends, and even that couldn't offset the village leader plotting against me. Why is this so important to you? Why do you care? If I haven't attacked them yet, it's highly unlikely I'm going to now. I'm a loyal Konoha shinobi, and now that you've requested it, they claim to see me as a hero. You've gotten everything you want, Minato-sama, except your love and forgiveness. Pfft, you have the love of every villager here, and since they are what really matters, that should be enough. Naruto, I know you don't believe me and I know why, but son, I truly am sorry. Minato said and then flashed away. Aren't you being a bit unreasonable? And keep in mind I'm a being of pure malice. Oni-chan, do that again in transmigrant or not, I'll kill you. You're no fun, Kurama. But no, I am not being unreasonable. He wants to apologize for the consequence but not his action, which he'd do again. He wanted to sacrifice his son for his village, so fine, he gets his village but not his son. He doesn't get to have it both ways, he doesn't get to win, in a manner of speaking, yes. You know, I really didn't give him much of a choice. Once he severed the contract between Obito and me, I could have ran, but I was pissed and lashed out. Naruto, I wasn't going to stop, and no matter how justified I felt at the time, that doesn't negate their right to defend their existence, even if they are in the wrong on some cosmic scale, granted. Still, I can't. He gambled with my life. He didn't know you'd be cooperative. Hell, he didn't know the process of Bijou becoming partners with their Jinchuriki, but he had faith I'd figure it out. How? That's just bullshit. He did what a Kage would do, not what a father would do, and left me to figure it out. His decision, and I become scorned while my mother was forgotten, like he just squared up and fist fought you all on his own. It all just pisses me off, I can tell. And here I thought you had gotten a handle on that temper of yours. I did, but that flashy bastard just fucking infuriates me to no end. Especially his, I'm so reasonable tone of voice. He doesn't even have the decency to look all that masculine, fucking femboy looking bastard. Okay, you're spinning out right now and it isn't a good look. First, you look a lot like him, so I wouldn't take many swipes at his appearance. Secondly, I can't wait for you to figure this out anymore. You aren't mad at him, not entirely. You're the same kind of self-sacrificing idiot he is, and don't bother denying it. Put in his position, you do the same and hate yourself for doing it. You hate them but fear what you do if you admit it, as much so you become irrational when it comes to Minato, because he doesn't even care. He's so willing to forgive them, to justify their actions. He doesn't give a damn about me? What parent could forgive people that treated their child like trash for years? He just acts like it was a big misunderstanding. Oh, forgive them, Naruto. Forgive them? I used to drown here. They all wanted to pretend I didn't exist. They tortured me and he doesn't even care. So, since he sided with them, once again, I'll never forgive him. If that's your decision, but you being agitated will only cause problems, so at least meditate until you calm down. Oh, I knew you cared, Oni-chan. I'm going to kill you, brat. He didn't know how long he had been meditating when he felt the disturbance of unknown chakra signatures, but he was up and prepared. Thanks to Kurama, he felt their negative emotions. Whoever these 8 people were, they intended to cause harm. He quickly flashed to inside the compound, his mind instantly operating like an ANBU. He knew Tsunade was home, and while she could more than handle herself, his first priority was to protect his Hokage. Finding her in the kitchen, he created a shadow clone and immediately had her flashed away to a secret command location. His clone would explain everything for him. He ran to his room and grabbed his kunai holster. Seeing Shizen, he informs her, 8 hostiles on the ground, I'm going to confront. She nods and follows him. The night was ideal for an ambush. There was a new moon and low visibility. The 8 members moved slowly but purposefully through the wooded areas of the compound. Their target was the Namikaze Jinchuriki, and then any damage they could cause as they fled while the other team executed their target as well. They were confident they could catch the Jinchuriki unawares, even had the best genjutsu users in the unit with them. They would not fail IWA, and would get revenge on that damned 4th Hokage through his son, Jinchuriki. Naruto once realized, were not trained to be good shinobi and as such were vulnerable to advanced shinobi tactics, such as a nighttime assassination with mediocre genjutsu practitioner covering for them. He, however, was an excellent shinobi even if he had been tasked with being more superweapon as of late. But these fools would learn. Naruto Uzumaki thrives in the shadows. Shizen and he made it to the entrance of the wooded area. He felt the chakra signatures. Flashing a few signs lets her know his general plan. He'd be going high in the trees, flushing them out, and she could pick off those fleeing. Inevitably some would stay to fight, but that's fine. They'd realize the mistake when it was too late. He took off in the trees, not making a sound, masking his presence. The first target would be the genjutsu users, as they wouldn't notice he or she was gone until his attack commenced. He had lucked out. They didn't have her in the center but toward the back. He just had to be patient and let them pass. Slowing his breath, he stilled himself perfectly. The 8 passed by him, none noticing the ninja wire slowly descending into the night, not even its intended target, until it was taut around her neck. The wind chakra came too fast, and it claimed her head, instantly ending her technique. 2 of them noticed the subtle disturbances of a silent kill and turned, to be greeted with 2 shurikens coming at them. One held up a kunai to block, the other tried to dodge, both sound tactics against ordinary shurikens. These were not ordinary. Not only were they infused with wind chakra, but they also had seals inscribed on them that made the wind increase the circumference of the shuriken's attack range, and killed one of the assassins, as he was not prepared for his kunai to be cut through nor for the shuriken to continue and sever arteries in his neck. The other also received cuts to the neck but not deep enough to kill. However, the momentary distraction was enough as Naruto stabbed him in his neck before disappearing into the trees. The exchange was fast, brutal and efficient, but it didn't go without notice as the 5 remaining hostiles turned to see 3 of their members killed. They avoided the volley of kunai that rained down upon them, and realized they had been compromised and were at a disadvantage. "We need to get out of the trees," one said, stating the obvious, and the quintet took off. Keeping their senses on high alert, none would say it, but they were disconcerted that they couldn't sense their attacker but figured they'd have an advantage in an open area. Running as fast as they can, the group could see the clearing and their confidence began to grow. That is, until they were separated by a powerful blast of wind. 3 of the group managed to make it out of the wooded area, each debating whether to go back to save their comrades. Had they not been looking toward the wooded area, they may have seen Shizen emerge from the ground. Had they been more alert, 2 of them may not have had their throats slashed with her chakra scalpels. Had the last member not been so angered at seeing his elite group of killers picked off, he might not have engaged in taijutsu with the long-time apprentice of the best taijutsu user among the Sannin. He might not have overextended on a right cross only to experience a great deal of searing pain across his back, only to lose all feeling in his lower body, the sign of paralysis taking hold. He might not have had to look up helplessly at the sadistic smile. Very few have ever seen Shizen dawn, and even fewer survived to speak of it. But all these things did happen, and he'd soon be at the tender mercies of Ibiki for his bad luck. Shizen then saw Naruto emerge with one of the bodies and a bloody jade kodachi, created from the crystal release, she surmised. "Did you leave any of them alive?" she asked to see him drop the body he was carrying and scratch the back of his head. "Kinda. I mean, he's alive," pointing to the body he just dropped, "but I think I broke his jaw a little." To which Shizen could only roll her eyes. "I assume you have clones collecting the other bodies?" "Of course, this ain't my first rodeo, Databeo." "No, I suppose it isn't," she said, only to see his face contort, first in worry then in fury. "What's wrong?" Hinata activated the siege protocols at the Hyuga compound. The timing is too convenient, meaning these guys weren't alone. Hinata was not having a good day. She had been sent on a 2-week-long mission, which was easy enough except she had to squeeze in some clan business while gone. The trip back was miserable as it was hot and balmy, and just miserable. She was glad when she returned to the compound, except she was immediately assaulted with internal clan issues that needed her immediate attention, which meant no Naruto time for her. Finally, she managed to finish her business, take a shower and prepare for bed. Not an hour into her sleep was she alerted, through a seal on her wrist, that intruders had breached the compound's walls. She immediately flashed through a series of hand signs to activate the siege barriers and activated her Byakugan. Seeing the 4 intruders, she grabbed her sword and ran off to face them. Unlike her service weapon, the sword she was carrying now was a Jien. It was a gift from Anko when she made Anbu, and Hinata fell in love with the forms when wielding the weapon, as it truly fit with her natural grace and agility. The 4 intruders knew they had been discovered, all cursing the bad intel they had been given, and were surrounded. Surrender or death, these are your only options, the 4 heard the waif say. All knew who she was, the new clan head, but more importantly to them, the girlfriend of the junior Namikaze. Patriotism and shinobi pride demanded they not give up, so the 4 rushed her. The exchange between the 4 assailants and the clan matriarch could be described only as a dance, as each assassin attempted to stay out of range of her sword, but none could manage to penetrate her defenses. One attempted to perform ninjutsu just to be immediate cut on his hands. The dance went on for less than 5 minutes as Hinata dipped and ducked, bent backwards and slipped their attempts while managing to nick each of her opponents until they all dropped. This isn't a normal blade. It's coated in a rare type of venom, and the small cuts I gave you are more than enough. Gentlemen, your end won't be pleasant, and while not long it will feel like an eternity. She then looked to the head of her security. We clearly need to revamp our security measures if 4 IWA assassins can get in here without much problem. Dropping the siege barriers, Hinata made her way to the Hokage tower to inform Tsunade of the intrusion, or her ANBU on duty if she was not in. Tsunade couldn't help the headache she was feeling. Attacking her own property and a clan head was simply too much. Onoki would have to pay. They had planned for this, they being her advisors and ANBU commander, just in case Onoki's irrational hatred led him to do something stupid. It had. She knows he'll remain professional and is perfect for the job, but a part of her is reluctant to give the mission to Naruto. She takes a long look at her son, seeing he is remaining professional, but there is something in his eyes. Not rage, but something beyond anger. She sighs, knowing what she has to do. Onoki went too far this time. Naruto, I'm assigning you a 3-pronged mission in response. I expect you to have it completed in no longer than 6 weeks. She throws him an ANBU mask. Welcome back, Gamma. Chapter 21. Normally she would groan at the reality of having to complete work in her bed. Truly, being Hokage allows for very little rest, even if she has revolutionized the administrative aspects of the job. However, she won't bemoan the work, as it allows her not to think she just sent her son on a mission to either avoid or start a war with IWA. She's not worried about him getting hurt. While no ninja is invulnerable, she has Jiraiya's report from his time in AIM. Naruto currently has no equal in terms of combat, especially after integrating the AIM portion of Kurama into his seal. The issue is Naruto knows he's powerful. He no longer can hide behind his status as an underdog. He is not. Given that and the best-case scenario of this operation costing hundreds of lives, she worries about how he handles it. It's one thing to kill someone in a hard-fought battle. It's another to erase people from existence with just the wave of a hand. She is no stranger to lording over a battlefield. In her prime she could wipe out platoons with the best of them, but true army killers. No matter what anyone says, almost no S-rank shinobi can actually do that. If it were a common feature of the rank, Minato would have been feared, but not the pathology-inducing panic he causes IWA and Onoki. Fucking Onoki, she thinks. If that old asshole had just retired or had the good sense to die, this could have been avoided. Now he'll lose his village, of this Tsunade is sure. Naruto was a gifted saboteur. She assumed it was due to his facility with pranks. She just hopes he can handle the aftermath, that those that love him are enough to get him through. You're thinking entirely too loud and are blowing a hole in my masculine pride. When I bed a lovely lady, she generally stays asleep. Lot of experience? She said, almost dangerously. All in preparation to be worthy of you, Haim. You've gotten smarter. Death will do that to a man. So yes, she and Jiraiya are finally giving it a chance. What is it? She doesn't really know, but what she does know is that she cares about the old pervert, and finally saw that he had changed. It seems Naruto wasn't the only one that had to come to terms with himself while they were away, as Jiraiya too had to move past the lovable screw-up he often thought of himself as. That also meant those around him had to stop treating him as such. Things between them had been progressing slowly since they originally returned, but after AIM, She realized they didn't have time for slow. So here they both are, doing whatever it is they are doing. You shouldn't worry so much about him. I helped pull Minato through his time during the war and I can help Naruto, too. Besides, he has 2 mothers and a sister he's strangely afraid of. Tsunade had to laugh. She never thought of that. If things get too bad, she could just tell him to cheer up or else she'll sick shizen on him. He'd likely be too frightened to bother being depressed. You may have a point, but we'll see. He's only been gone a week. He'll be fine. Believe it, Jiraiya said with a laugh. I hate you so much right now. Minato woke up to a familiar sound. Familiar, but one he hadn't heard since the war, and his body went cold. He tried to convince himself he was dreaming, that he wasn't hearing what he thought he was. What reason would there be? He pinched himself, and the pain assured him he was awake. The ever-calm former Hokage was in a near panic and cursed his luck. He had only ever won a single argument against Kushina, and given the fallout of that, he wasn't liking his odds. But he was no coward, so he knew the best way to handle it was the direct approach. He finds himself wishing Naruto was not on assignment, as he feels his son would have a better chance at this. Taking some calming breaths, he heads to his living room to see his wife sharpening her katana, the Red Lady, on a wet stone while Kakashi watched. "Ohio, Minato-kun," she greeted. "Ohio, Kushina-chan." He replied, "Sweetie, why are you sharpening your sword? Have a spar scheduled?" "No, I have some people to run through," she said while giving a sagely nod. "Kushina, baby, you can't just stab people with your sword." "Of course I can. I'm really good at it. I stabbed lots of people during the war, and I was only defending Konoha. Certainly, I can do it to those that harmed my Sochi. First, Inoichi team, then Hayashi team, and we'll move on from there." "Kushina, you doing this would be incredibly illegal. Not to mention it won't help Naruto." "How am I not helping Naruto? He needs to forgive them. It's not good to hold on to resentment like he has. He needs to give them a chance to make amends." "No, you need him to do that. You need him to forgive them so he'll eventually forgive you. What he needs is for his parents to be on his side for once. Apparently, I'm the only one of us prepared to do that. How does you going on a rampage show we're on his side? It'll only turn the villagers against him again." "So? He doesn't care about their approval. He doesn't care if they hate him. Why can't you get that? The people we sacrificed our family for saw to it that our son will hold the vast majority of them in contempt. Your preaching about forgiveness is just white noise. What he'll appreciate is me showing him that what they did wasn't okay and they will be held responsible. They don't get to say sorry a decade after the fact and it be okay. But Kushina, he needs to care. It's not healthy. I don't want him to be bitter and turn on the villagers. You said it yourself, containers must fill themselves with love to counteract the hate." "Yes, love, not sainthood or victimization. I never said he couldn't stand up for himself. I'm glad he has enough self-worth to not forgive these people that have done nothing, absolutely nothing to earn his forgiveness. You don't even expect them to? You just want to act like it didn't happen." "Well, I won't. I will never forget what they did to my most precious person, how they isolated him to the point of near insanity. How some even tried to attack him in your name. I'm just as angry as you are, Kushina." "No, you aren't. You just want to play peacekeeper. You just want to control Naruto and my reactions instead of supporting us. Do you realize how they treated him is how they would have treated me had they known? Your predecessor could have gotten him killed, Minato. No wonder he refuses to have anything to do with you. You never try to understand him, you only want to dictate what he should do. Until you can understand and accept his side of things, Minato, your son will always be lost to you. So what? I just resort to violence? Beat down anyone that ever looked at Naruto wrong? If that's what it takes, you can't mean that. Kushina, despite their failure, these are essentially good people." "No, they aren't. They psychologically tortured a child. Good people don't do that. A loving father would understand. It breaks my heart that you can't seem to." "Kakashi, a little help?" "Well, I would be all for running through Inoichi except Naruto already handled him." "You have been absolutely no help, student mine." "Wait, what did he do to Inoichi?" Minato said with some concern, to which Kakashi shrugs. "Let's just say that for a small window of time, Inoichi wasn't the only one Ino called daddy. Now, that's proper revenge." "Shut up, Minato. And Kakashi, if you turn my Sochi into a pervert I'll kick your ass, databang." "Moving on, Kushina, what about our family? We're back, we could have more kids. This would make it harder on them, and I doubt Naruto would want that." "I'm not having more kids," Kushina said with a laugh. "How would that work?" "Hey Naruto, you know everything we didn't give you? Yeah, here's how that would look. Cool, ain't it? No, Minato, I won't do that to him, nor would I ever want to be in a position to have to leave another small child by themselves. I don't trust these villagers with my family. Kushina, you can't just kill people. You'd be arrested, no matter how much Tsunade agreed with you. You'd be taken from Naruto again. I realized now that it seemed like I didn't hold them responsible, that I didn't care about what they had done. But that isn't true. I'm disappointed in them, that they disregarded my final wish and hurt my son, but I have to believe they can do better, are better than their darkest hours. Why? Because if given the choice, I'd do it all over again. I'd seal Kurama in Naruto to protect the village as it was my duty. So, I have to believe they are worth it, that they are basically good but lost their way. Then you won't have a relationship with Naruto. Because they aren't good, they are petty and vile cowards. Being Hokage meant more to you than being a father, clearly. No, that isn't true, Minato said, visibly hurt by Kushina's words. Yes, it is. You'd seal Kurama in Naruto again. I'd fight with everything I have to prevent it. They weren't worth it. You need to believe they were, but they weren't. So, you'd let thousands die, even those too young to have been guilty of anything? Yes. You seem to think Naruto was created with the purpose of suffering for others. He was not. His innocence isn't any less valuable than theirs. His happiness isn't trivial. At least, not to me. So, for those that scorned him and taught their little bastards to do the same, I'd rather he had been relocated than made to serve the people that cursed his existence. I don't think that about Naruto. He's my son too, damn it. Then act like it. Stop telling him how to feel, Minato. He isn't being unreasonable. He has every reason to not trust these people you hold so dear. You know, you've taken all the fun out of this. I'm going out, Kushina said before exiting the room without her sword. It seems some of you are unhappy with the new direction of the clan. Unhappy enough to give our security protocols to IWA assassins with the hope they'd kill me. Your assassins failed, gentlemen. Your coup has failed, said Hinata, addressing her elder council. You have no proof. Silence. Have no proof? I had Anko-sensei do a thorough investigation. Your co-conspirators gave you up within hours. It was so fun, too. I never got to crack a Hyuga, and then I had 3 all trussed up for me like it was my birthday. You were quite welcome, sensei. Was the change I brought so scary that you'd rather be traitors than adapt? She shook her head in disbelief. Don't answer it. I don't even care. Sensei, please take them away and do as you please. Don't even bother sending the bodies back. They can be fed to wild animals for all I care. It has been 4 weeks since the assassination attempt, and Hinata Hyuga, current matriarch of the Hyuga clan, was not happy. While she expected some pushback against her being the clan head, to attempt to murder her and to work with another shinobi village to do so has left her disgusted. Rooting out the inside men had been easy enough. Getting the elders back also wasn't a problem. Her issue is now having to be suspicious of the rest of her family, not knowing who she can trust outside of Hanabi. It's taxing wondering where the threats are, and Hinata often wonders if this is how Naruto felt when he was younger. If that weren't enough, Hinata has another engagement she must see to that has been long overdue, and she isn't looking forward to it in the least. Hinata-sama, Tenten-san is awaiting you in your office. Thank you, I'll be right there. This conversation had been a long time coming. The two had been putting it off for years, both willing to just pretend it wasn't necessary. But their interactions had been increasingly chilly when they weren't completely non-existent. Hinata can, intellectually, recognize the pettiness of it all, as she was the initial cause of their fraying friendship and had done little to fix it. Maybe this could be their way forward. Hopefully it could be. Tenten, thank you for seeing me today. When one is summoned by the head of the Hyuga clan, they make sure to answer it. Tenten said snarkily. I guess I deserve that. Tenten, I know much of our issues is my fault, and I'm sorry. I should have handled the change in yours and Naruto's relationship better. I shouldn't have grown distant toward you. I let my resentment and jealousy get the better of me, and I'm hoping you can forgive me and we can move forward. Now that you have Naruto. I'm sorry? You're sorry and hoping to move forward now that you have Naruto. Had you not, had he moved on with me, would you be bothering to fix our friendship? I can't answer that, I don't know. I'd like to think I would. Besides, you two were never together, it was always casual between you. That is the story, isn't it? Are you saying you two were more than that? I'm saying we never got the chance. That idiot couldn't move on from you and assumed I was having a similar issue with Niji. I wasn't. I'm practical and won't pine over someone that won't be with me, but I also didn't have my emotional dependency manipulated by my first love, so I could see why he'd struggled to move on. I didn't manipulate him. I told him not to wait for me. I told him to be happy, and then acted pissy toward the first woman he got close to. Be honest, you didn't want him to move on, your words were empty. Just something you knew you were supposed to say, not how you truly felt. What do you want me to say? I had to let him go, I had to free my family and save my clan. No one else was going to do it, and I had to risk my future with Naruto. Do you think it was easy? Since you didn't actually risk anything, just put him on a shelf, I wouldn't know. So, all this heat from you is because I'm with Naruto? Tenten just shrugs. I'm happy with Niji. I was happy with Naruto, but he felt guilty. I'd see it in his eyes. If he felt anything more than physical attraction, it was like he was cheating on you. And you did nothing to disabuse him of that notion. And all for your clan, this clan that plays with the lives of those in and out of it. I don't know what you want, Tenten. I admit I was cold to you when I realized what you two were doing. Partially because I thought you were my friend and wouldn't do that to me. Even if we had to end things before they had even begun, I loved him and you knew that. So if you can't have him, no one else is supposed to either? It isn't that simple, and you know it isn't. I know he needed something more than a friend and I wanted more. We weren't wrong for what we did, but you sure judged us anyway. You're right, I did. I just always imagined we'd be each other's first in everything, and knowing that wouldn't be the case, that he might actually move unhurt. I really am sorry. I forgive you. Besides, who knew the Hyuga princess could be jealous of a mere commoner? Tenten offered with a smile. Who indeed? Oanoki had gone from venerated leader to disgraced traitor in just a few weeks. Things tend to move fast for shinobi, but this was ridiculous. Oanoki knows this was caused by Tsunade, a response for the assassination attempts on the Hyuga clan head and her pet Jinchuriki, the goddamn Namikaze. When he sent his platoon of killers, he didn't know the real Namikaze was back, or else he'd have sent more. Oanoki had mulled over his fall and as best he could tried to understand how he had been ousted. To think it all hinged on Hiro Saito, a name he hadn't much thought about. The man was a greedy bastard that greatly overestimated his intelligence and value, but he did have his uses as a go-between, especially for black op or mercenary work. He had concluded, given the evidence, that the man's assassination had been a power play by the Akatsuki or an attempt to cover their tracks before they made a move on IWA.L. He was wrong, he realized. It was a job by Konoha and he never suspected it. Maybe that was why he didn't pay attention to the buyout proposal of the Mishima Collective, a corporation that the government of IWA held a minority but still significant interest in, as did the daimyo. The buyout is what started his downfall. When an interested party not based in Earth country tries to buy into or a controlling interest of a company or organization that is partially owned by the daimyo, he has his accountants go through the books of said company. One is to gauge how a sale would affect the daimyo and the nation, but also to make sure nothing illegal has or could occur. The accountants found money being siphoned from Mishima to Saito, and the amounts roughly equaled the illegal activities and black ops Saito had financed on behalf of Oanoki, including hiring the Akatsuki. As this implicated the daimyo as being involved with a group of terrorists, he was, of course, irate that Oanoki had been so sloppy and had stolen from him. Oanoki had done himself no favors by insisting it was a setup, b. not that important, and c. the focus should be on killing the Konoha Jinchuriki, who was the son of Minato Namikaze. Oanoki's singular focus on his archenemy, to the point of obsession, along with how his actions could cause issues with the other daimyo of the elemental nations, left Oanoki with the demand he retire and appoint a successor immediately. Oanoki felt he was boxed in and left little choice, as his council had agreed with the daimyo and would not support their current Kage any longer. Not even his son nor granddaughter came to his side. In his anger, Oanoki called out to his most loyal shinobi, and they all abandoned their village. Oanoki planned to invade AIM, hearing it had lost its leader and was weak. From there, he'd figure out a way to kill the Namikaze, both of them, and Tsunade for good measure. As he marched toward the border of Earth Country, Oanoki was greeted with the sight of a massive nine-tailed fox, cloaked in golden chakra. It was aiming a Baijidama at him and his followers. The impact came swiftly, killing everyone but him. When Oanoki recovered, the fox was gone, but a lone figure, cloaked in the same golden chakra, was looking upon the former Kage. Oanoki was enraged that he had been intercepted by the boy he longed to see dead, and made a promise to himself that he would be the one to end this arrogant child that assumes he could stand as an equal to one of the strongest shinobi in history. What followed was a furious ninjutsu battle. Oanoki was shocked to see the boy match him. The only man to do so previously had been the Sandaime Hokage. Where Oanoki had a mastery of 3 primary elements and his dust release, the boy showed a mastery of all 5 elements, and had a time-space barrier to deflect the dust element. Oanoki had been getting desperate. It was taking a lot of chakra to remain in the air, and he was running out of plans. It was clear the boy had the superior reserves and must have had decent chakra control to not even be breathing heavily. So lost in thought, Onoki almost missed the jutsu aimed at him, something he faintly heard the boy call scorch style, champagne supernova. Not allowing himself to be shocked that the boy has a Kekkai Genkai on top of everything else, Onoki dodges the jutsu but felt how superheated the air got and the force of the shockwave the jutsu produced, which sent him toward the ground. Onoki barely managed to dodge 3 water dragons, although he would swear 2 of them looked like ice during his descent. He cursed himself as he headed for the ground while seeing the boy run through a series of hand seals only for the boy to end on Snake, but nothing happened. "What's wrong, brat? Can't finish the job? I'm glad losing everything hasn't humbled you at all. As if I'd ever allow someone of your bloodline to humble me. Whatever, old man. Enjoy your petty resentments," Naruto said as he began to leave. "How dare you turn your back on me?" Onoki yelled. His reserves spent and the force he hit the ground, making a mounting an offense an impossibility, but he wouldn't be disrespected by this boy. "Funny weather we're having," Naruto said before he vanished from in front of Onoki, who took that as a cue to look up and saw the oncoming snowflakes. Thinking nothing of it, Onoki tried to get up but was having difficulty as his body was hit with a wave of pain with every move. The first snowflake landed behind Onoki, so he didn't see the effect, but the second one landed on his right foot and he felt the freeze instantly. It horrified the former leader, a Hayaton technique he had never suspected. Another snowflake hit Onoki in the same leg, and he realized he had to get outside of the area of effect, or he'd be frozen to death. Mustering every ounce of resolve he had, Onoki tried to get up but couldn't. The ice not only hampered his mobility but weighed him down. He grabbed a kunai and decided to try to shatter the ice but was having very little luck. Fighting back a sense of panic, Onoki ignored the snowflake that fell on his left leg. He tried to focus every bit of chakra he had left to perform one more dust element technique to remove the snow and the clouds. He knew he'd pass out after the technique but attempted it anyway, managing to form it. The onset of chakra exhaustion is why Onoki didn't notice the snowflake that landed on his left arm, instantly freezing it and destabilizing his jutsu. The blast killed Onoki instantly. A figure hidden from view dispelled himself, sending confirmation to the original. Chapter 22. He could feel his skin searing from the heat. How could it not when it surrounded him like an invading horde? His vision was blurry from the smoke, signs of smoke inhalation starting to take effect, but he wouldn't stop. He was a ninja and ninja endure, especially for their families, and right now he had to save his wife and daughter. He couldn't even hear their pleas for help, so he knew he was running out of time. He reached the door to the supply closet they were trapped in and started to kick, punch and push it down. He could barely breathe, his everything hurt, but he wouldn't stop. Not this time, he would save his family. Finally, he managed to break down the door and was awarded with the exterior view of his flower shop set ablaze. For the 20th time he had tried to save his family, only to have to relive the nightmare of hearing their screams and failing to save them. This time, it was too much. Inoichi's will was broken. He couldn't mount another rescue attempt. It broke his heart to know that he had died and gone to hell, but the will to continue just didn't exist anymore. For his decision, he was assaulted with the most desperate, pain-filled screams he had ever heard. Ino's calls for her daddy to save her causing Inoichi physical pain. Eventually the screams stopped, and the shop was rendered as nothing more than ash. He broke down and cried like he never has before. Everything hurt until he entered shock. His screams of agony replaced with eerie quiet, letting unconsciousness take him. Sometime later, Inoichi opened his eyes and was greeted with the sight of one Kushina Uzumaki. "Oh hail, Inoichi! See, you finally managed to beat my seal. Congratulations, it only took 3 days. What did you do to me?" Inoichi asked, though his voice was hoarse. "I put a seal on you. Mikoto once told me about this Sharingan genjutsu that would play on a loop until the person inflicted accepted their fate. Cool, right? So I figured, why not make it a seal and test it on you? Are you crazy?" Inoichi asked, still reeling from the routine deaths of his family and a little disoriented from the effects of the seal. "Probably," she said with a shrug. "But you got off entirely too lightly for what you did to my son. Some could argue that screwing with his mind is forgivable as you were ordered to do it, and clearly didn't have the spine to tell Hiruzen no. But you also burned his apartment down. Twice you wronged my son, Inoichi, and you need to be held accountable. Tsunade-sama gave you a slap in the wrist. Her position restrained what she could feasibly do to you for an accident, and Kakashi's warning clearly didn't work, so Kushina pauses to grab Inoichi by his jaw while adding a significant amount of pressure. Consider everything they did a preamble. Next time, Inoichi, accident or not, your position or not, I'm going to murder you. Not disappear you nor make you pay but straight out murder you wherever I should find you. Kushina released Inoichi when she finished and left his hospital room. You feel better? I'd have to do that to a significant amount of the village to feel better, but I can accept it. Good. I really don't need you going on a bloody, revenge-fueled rampage. I don't need the paperwork, said Tsunade. Well, I'd never want to increase the workload of my co-mother, now would I? Said Kushina, and may Kami bless you for it. So, have you seen Naruto? He's been MIA since Oinoki. Yeah, he got in last night so he'll probably be out and about today. What makes you think that? Because he has to spend the day with Tantan, Tsunade said through laughs. Naruto was fairly certain that if you killed a Kage in single combat your reward for doing so wouldn't be trying to make amends to a pampered pig, and yet, here he is. Why is Naruto having to make amends to Tsunade's pet? Well, he violated the rules. After living with Tsunade and Shizen for a few months, Naruto noticed Tantan would be cold towards him when he came back from missions. Not knowing how he had offended the little pig, he asked Tsunade, to which she, in all sincerity, stated Tantan was a worrier and when he doesn't check in before he departs she gets really concerned. He would have laughed if he couldn't tell she was being serious. So, as best he could, Naruto would inform his little friend when he was leaving so she wouldn't worry so much. This last mission didn't allow him time to do that, and Naruto, being awakened by a slap of her pig hooves, let him know how he'd be spending his day. So, a few hours later found Naruto in Konoha's market district. Along with him were Tantan riding atop Gamatsu. Why Gamatsu? She likes him. No one knows why, but she does, and his life is easier if the pig is happy. Also with him are Shino and Kakashi, either being shy and taking pleasure in the village's most powerful shinobi catering to his mother's pet. Shino, Kakashi is a well-known dick. Kakashi merely shrugs in response. But never did I think my best friend would find amusement in my suffering. This earned him a glare from Tantan. Not that I'm not happy to be here, Tantan-chan, it was just a difficult mission is all. Hearing her oink in delight let him assume she bought it. Well, Naruto, it isn't every day one sees a battle summons called upon to assist in such unique matters. Besides, given you've been hiding out in my clan's compound for the last few days, I think I'm owed. Besides, Ashura's reincarnation kowtowing to a damn pig is hilarious, added Kurama, and instantly Tantan started glaring at Naruto's stomach. Shit, can she hear me? I have no idea, this pig is freaky, agreed Sochi. Kushina yelled in the crowded marketplace. Oh, Kami, help me. It's the tomato. Shut it, Oni-chan. I hate you. Hey, Sochi. Kushina chirped. Hi, Mom. This is Shino. Shino, this is my mom. Shibi's boy? Nice to meet one of Naruto's friends, she said, shaking his hand. Nice to meet you as well, Kushina-sama. Pfft, not need for that sama crap. You seem awfully excited. What happened? I tortured Inoichi a little bit so I'm keyed up. Hey, are you free today? Well, after I finished up with Tantan I was going to see Hinata for a bit. Okay, come to dinner tonight. You can bring Hinata along if you like, and after dinner we're going to spar. Doesn't that sound fun, Databane? Chuckling, Naruto replies, Sure Mom, I'll be there, and asked Hinata if she'd like to join. Excellent, Kushina chirped. Well, I have to get some things for tonight, see ya later, Sochi. Bye Mom, Naruto called out to a retreating Kushina. Naruto? Yes, Shino. Did your mother just admit to torturing a clan head? Asked Shino. I believe she did. At least she didn't go with her initial plan to stab him with her sword, offered Kakashi. The three exchanged looks as they silently decided to not inquire into Kushina's actions. After spending a small fortune on acorns and various other treats for the most spoiled pig in the elemental nations, Naruto parted ways with the group and made his way to see Hinata. They hadn't seen much of each other since becoming an official couple, and that was not sitting well with the blonde. Deciding it'd be best not to just sneak in, Naruto actually went to the front gate so he could be shown in and announced, much to the surprise of the security guards. Escorted through the ornate halls, at what Naruto feels is a snail's pace, the group finally arrives at Hinata's office and the guards promptly leave as Naruto enters. You look familiar, stranger. What can the matriarch of the Hyuga clan do for you? Hinata says. I highly doubt that. I'm uncommonly handsome, Hyuga-sama. If you say so, but you didn't answer my question. I'm sorry, I was distracted. What was the question again? I think I know who you remind me of. I had a boyfriend that was easily distracted and a bit of a baka. Maybe he just found you distracting. My, so forward, stranger, and I don't even have a name. I've been called lots of names in various contexts. For now, Naruto will do. We can build from there. Hinata mock gasps before continuing. My boyfriend was named Naruto, too. But you couldn't be him. My boyfriend wouldn't hide out at the Aburaim compound for a few days after killing a Kage, leaving me to worry. Oh is right, team. What the hell, Naruto-kun? I felt overwhelmed. I needed some time to decompress, that's all. And you couldn't do that with me? No, I wasn't going to let you see me like that. No, you aren't doing that again. I accepted it when we were kids, but no longer, Naruto. If you're feeling underwater, I'm the one you're supposed to come to. I'm not made of glass. I don't think you are, Hinata. I'm sorry, I didn't think it'd upset you. Why wouldn't it? We're supposed to share everything, but you shut me out when you should be leaning on me. Naruto, you have to let me help you. I won't leave just because you were vulnerable around me. You do know that, right? Yeah, I do. I'm sorry, Hinata-chan. Good, now what's going on with you? Naruto then began to share what had been bothering him, and what transpired on his mission. How he started to feel suffocated in the village due to his father's return, and how killing those IWA shinobi and Oinoki so easily scared him. Hinata shared her discussion with Tenten and her fears that she had manipulated Naruto into never truly moving on. Naruto reassured her that wasn't the case, and ultimately him never getting serious with someone was his choice. The two sat in silence for a long while after that, just enjoying each other's presence, both silently resolving to make more time for each other. Soon, the realities of being a clan head intruded on their moment, and Hinata had to get back to work. Before he left, Naruto extended the invite to dinner, which Hinata gladly accepted. The two parted ways with a passionate kiss, and Naruto decided to track down one of his oldest friends and do something he should have done some time ago. It hadn't been an easy day for Tenten, as she has been training for her Jounin exams. While she doesn't necessarily feel she is ready, Gai-sensei has convinced her she should at least try, as she has all the qualities, especially now that she has branched out to elemental manipulation to better utilize her Kiba blades. A shower and a nap is all she wanted, but it seemed that was not going to be possible in the immediate future. You enjoy breaking into places entirely too much, Whiskers. I have to keep my skills sharp however I can, Tenchan. So, you've spoken to Hinata, I take it? Tenten said, taking a seat by Naruto on her sofa. I have, but I hope you aren't implying that's the only reason I would have come to see you. I'm not, Shrimp. I'm taller than you. Doesn't matter. Fine, Tenny. Fine, but enough stalling. I think I owe you a conversation. Coming to defend her? No, she can defend herself. I've come to apologize. I hadn't been honest, not with you and not with myself. Oh, finally going to admit we were more than just some casual hookup. Sighing, Naruto replies, yeah. You were more than that to me. I don't paint the Hiraishin array on everybody's naked back, you know. I remember that day, you were quite proud of yourself. That I was, and you were the first person I told about it. I'm sorry, Tenchan. Don't be sorry, just explain it to me. Could you really not see yourself with anyone but Hinata? Was that the problem? Yes and no. I felt I could move on with you if that's what you wanted, but if she were ever able to get around Hayashi's edict, I just didn't know how I'd deal with that, and if I knew there was a chance I couldn't commit to you fully, I didn't want to give the impression I could. You're an idiot. You always have been, even when you were that shrimp that couldn't throw a kunai. But Princess Pandachan saved me. Damn right. She said with a laugh. I'm sorry, Tenchan, if I ever made you feel like I didn't care about you or about us. That wasn't my issue, and I don't need to rehash it. Fine. Well, I need to get going. Besides, you have a gentleman caller approaching, Naruto said before pulling Tenten into a hug. Tenten hears a knock on the door, but by the time she answers it and invites in Niji, Naruto is already gone. Walking toward his parents' house, and what should have been his house, Naruto was nervous. He didn't know why he was nervous, but he was. Oh wait, I hate my dad, but I have to spend the evening with him. Yes, that'd do it. He sighed for the 10th time, wishing he didn't have to do this, that he could spend a quiet night with his lady. Hinata and he arrived to an expectant Kushina who gushed about how cute a coupe the two made. The foursome shared dinner, and it wasn't as awkward as Naruto feared it was going to be. He thinks it was because the food was so good, so he had something to distract him, but the night moved along. It wasn't until he was getting ready for his spar with Kushina that things went left. First, an ANBU arrived requesting Minato and himself go to the Hokage's office. Given the time, that signaled a likely emergency, and Naruto cursed his luck. When they entered Tsunade's office, her grim visage didn't give much room for optimism. The fact that the Sandaime, Danzo and Jiraiya were there only made Naruto certain something bad had or was going to happen. IWA has called a Gakage summit, and is threatening war if I don't attend. On what grounds? Minato asked. They are accusing us of tampering with their village's administrative functions and having an operative active within their borders. They are also trying to get the other villages to support them given we have stolen their Biju. I'd say this is a low percentage shot, but if Kiri and Kumo believe we're hoarding Biju, they might do something rash," replied Minato. "That's the conclusion we've come to, but if IWA does declare war, that'll change things. It's one thing to sign on to a hypothetical conflict, another thing entirely to not take a chance to get some boons from an existing one," said Tsunade. She turned to Naruto to see him being uncommonly quiet. "What do you think?" "I think this is absurd, and I'm getting a little tired of IWA. If you go to the summit, we can explain away some things. They can't prove anything, so these feels like a setup. Get you out of the village while they have a large force lying in wait. But if they did that, the other Kage would turn on them. It'd be suicide. If IWA declares war, it's suicide because I'll leave it a smoking crater, and I'm quickly regretting not just doing that to start with." "Calm down, kid," said Jiraiya. "None of us want that much death on our hands, so let's just think our way out of it. I believe my student has. IWA can't be allowed to dictate the pace of this. If they crave their own destruction, I see no reason not to give it to them. If they don't have the good sense to go quiet after they lose their only true Kage-level ninja when we have enough to feel the cell of them, then can we help them, because being stupid is no way to live." "No, I will not have this put on Naruto," said Minato. Now, Minato. You did seal the QB in Naruto. You facilitated him having the ability to do this, to protect and defend Konoha. As of yet, we don't have to do that. How many people can you bring with you, Tsunade?" 3. 1 advisor, 2 bodyguards. Yes, this doesn't remotely sound like a setup. "I say we skip the summit, and just attack IWA directly," said Danzo. "Do that and we will bring people to their side. I suggest you take Minato, Jiraiya and Naruto with you. If IWA has planned something, extraction won't be an issue for shinobi that can teleport. We then give IWA no quarter, and show them no mercy." "Naruto-kun, if the worst does come to pass, could you actually go through with it?" asked the Sandaime, "to stem off even more dire consequences?" "Yes. I wouldn't like it, but yes, I would," replied Naruto. "Okay, we leave in 2 days." "Naruto, you may leave." "Minato, what's wrong?" asked Tsunade. "When I sealed the QB into Naruto, I wanted him to have the power to defeat Madara and protect the village. I sacrificed his childhood for, and now by either necessity or convenience he'll be treated as a super weapon instead of the guiding light I hoped for. It's just difficult to accept. It's just not what I wanted." Chapter 23. 20 of the most powerful shinobi currently in existence reside in a room with one of the most powerful samurai, and all eyes seem to gravitate toward one person. It's amazing, Minato thinks, that the attention seems to direct to his son. Not a Kage, nor an advisor, and yet everyone is aware of where he is, of his every mannerism. Having trained under Jiraiya for so long, there are only a few things Minato never mastered. One was senjutsu, but that was more a timing issue. Wars and being Hokage just don't allow one to commune with nature. Another was Jiraiya's ability to not to appear to give a shit when in the presence of S-class shinobi. It was that reason that made the disciple question if he could ever truly defeat his master, even when Jiraiya would openly claim Minato as the better shinobi. The man had a way of undermining confidence, and that he didn't bother to acknowledge it only worsened the effects. Naruto had seemingly mastered this subtle art to perfection. If Minato didn't know of his son's talents and abilities, he'd think the boy an unobservant fool. No 16-year-old should be this free from preoccupation in a room of seasoned Kage, and yet Naruto didn't appear to have a single fuck to give. It was impressive and maddening, but maybe that lack of worry and deference is what allowed him to befriend so many people in this room. It's obvious the Kazekage held his son in high regard and the two had an easy rapport. He also seemed to be on good terms with the Raikage and the Mizukage as well. Minato can't help but think how close to real peace they all are, if his son's budding friendship with these village leaders is any indication, but notes how fragile it all is. If these talks go south, a war is almost guaranteed, and if Naruto reveals his abilities, then peace talks are impossible. No village would feel comfortable with anything but the chance to increase their military power in preparation. "I call this meeting to order," spoke Mifune. "As requested by the Tsuchikage, the leaders of the 5 great shinobi villages have convened. Tsuchikage Dano, please tell us why you have called this meeting." "Thank you," Mifune Dano Kitsuchi replies. "We are here to list and hopefully curb the aggressive actions of Konoha not only against us but the other major villages as well. We hope to address these issues now so as to avoid another war." "And what exactly are you accusing Konoha of?" I asked, who had attended with Darui, Shure and Karabi as his advisor. "For one, conducting illegal operations within the borders of Earth Country, including killing my predecessor. Secondly, the hoarding of the bijou. Their actions seek to undermine all of us here, and make no mistake, that's exactly what they tend to do. Hokage Dano, would you like to answer to these charges? Thank you, Mifune Dano, Tsunade started. I have very little to say about the charges levied by the new Sasuke. If my shinobi are able to undermine his village so thoroughly to cause a setting Kage to turn rogue, then my shinobi are simply better at being shinobi than yours. I feel no need to defend that, and I question why the Sasuke would want to broadcast his ineptitude and my village's prowess, she said, causing Katsuchi to scowl at her words. As for the charge of hoarding the bijou, we have not. The bijou that are not reforming and not currently sealed are free. Where they are I have no idea, but they are not in Konoha, nor are they controlled by Konoha. You lie! Katsuchi nearly yells, only to receive a scoff from Tsunade. The Hokage lies, spins a false tale. Could we all really miss such large beasts? They bijou are sentient masses of chakra. Do you really believe they can't change their size or shape? Everyone in this room can perform a henge, and we aren't comprised primarily of chakra. I am starting to think this has been a waste of time. I would have to agree with the Hokage, said Gaara. In fact, I have spoke with Shikaku, the Ichibi, as he currently resides in the deserts outside of Suna. Do you have any proof of this? Asked the Mizuki. I'm not entirely sure how one would prove this beyond you simply seeing it, but the Tsuchikage offers no more proof to the contrary when it is his burden to do so, stated Gaara. Minato watched as Karabi whispered something to Ai, which caused Ai to stare at his brother, as if seeking confirmation. Once received he spoke, I believe both the Hokage and the Kazekage. Then it is a simple matter of finding and resealing them, replied Mei. No, none of the bijou that are currently free will be sealed again, stated Tsunade. That's not for you to decide, Hokage Dano. The Mizuki replied back. It isn't my decision, it isn't that I'm going to stop you, they can't be resealed. Attempting to do so will only enrage them and cost you lives in the process. Tsunade shot back. How is that possible? Questioned Ai. Tsunade then waved to Naruto to approach the table to speak. When I released the bijou from the Ghetto Mazo in AIM, I applied a seal so none of them bijou would be resealed. They are intelligent beings that don't wish to harm any of us and deserve to be more than weapons of war. They deserve a peaceful existence like the rest of us. Are you foolish, boy? Your very Shodaime handed out the bijou to prevent war, and you unilaterally undo that, shouted Katsuchi. While not as vehement, I have to agree with him, kid, replied Ai. Since the hidden villages started creating Jinchuriki, there have been 3 shinobi wars. Had Konoha not defeated Akatsuki, with minimal help from the rest of you, there would have been a 4th, but instead of a fight over land, it would have been one for the survival of humanity. The Shodaime was a great man, but he was not infallible, and he made a mistake. If you want the power of the bijou, then find them and befriend them. Respect them and they may become guardians of your lands, but if they choose not to get involved, then leave them be and let them enjoy their freedom. Naruto, are you sure they mean us no harm? Asked Mei. Absolutely. They may be skittish around humans, but given the years of imprisonment, that's understandable, but if you should happen across them, just talk to them. I'll withhold judgment for now, stated Mei. Are you all foolish? You take the word of this boy? You believe a child could apply seals to the bijou? Fine, what will happen when the Yambi and the Gobi return? I'll free them as well if that's what they want, replied Naruto. You have no right, they belong to IWA. Can you not all see this? Konoha weakens us, but they keep their Jinchuriki so as to have a trump card against us. Is that why your agents were in Taki, looking for the container of the Nanabai? Asked Tsunade, which surprised Katsuchi. Didn't think I knew about that? Guess it was lucky the leader of Taki decided to relocate Foot to keep her safe from you. Irony of ironies, given your accusations of our activities within your borders, which you have yet to deny. Spat back Katsuchi. Even if I did have an agent where you claimed I did, hundreds of missing nin were headed to the borders of AIM, our ally, and we have every right to defend an ally from an occupying force. Maybe you should have controlled your shinobi forces better so as to not experience a mass defection. A defection you caused. Proof? Asked Tsunade. I don't need proof, I know you did it. Everything was just too neat, the evidence was just hard enough to find and just clear enough to paint a connection. You did that, and if she could do it to IWA, what is to stop her from doing it to everyone in this room? No one else in this room has sent assassins to my front doorstep with the intention to kill my family, and me along with a clan head. This is getting us nowhere. Let's please stay focused on the issues at hand, stated Mifune. Konoha is the issue. They work against IWA. How long before they start in on the rest of you? If you're smart, you'll side with us. They have not only gotten a daimyo to act against the sitting Kage, they've unilaterally have taken away Bijou. Surely you all see the threat Konoha poses. If they go unchecked, how long before we are flying a Konoha flag over our villages? Said the Tsuchikage. The Tsuchikage would lead you to believe the sky is falling and his only proof is the lack of clouds in the sky. See, it's so clear. It'll happen at any moment. Konoha has never initiated a war, this is a fact. Why we'd start now is beyond me. Kitsuchi-san states we've acted unilaterally and we have. We defeated the Akatsuki with minimal involvement from any of the other villages. Now some of this was just happenstance, but I did request assistance and the sharing of intel. Except for Suna, my call went unheeded. I understand why, but there was a threat to us all and a mess to clean up. Don't look at the clean floor and bitch about the mop I used, damn it. If any of you would have been in my position, would you have simply set the Bijou free or hoarded them for your own benefit? But I'm a power-crazed imperialist looking to squash the other villages? The accusation is absurd. The evidence is non-existent, and frankly I am beyond offended that the Tsuchikage called us here to scold me as if I were a child. Replied a visibly annoyed Tsunade. Tsuchikage Dano, what ultimately would you like to achieve here? Asked Mifune. It's very simple. I want Konoha to agree to pay restitution for their actions, and if not, I seek alliances as IWA will go to war. Surely, Tsuchikage Dano, we can come to an accord without resorting to hostilities. Said Mifune. No, we cannot. We will not bend the knee to Konoha. Oenoki saw the Namikaze's bastard as a threat, and it took him dying to prove as much. Either Konoha admits they killed him, names the agent, and turns him over along with a cash transfer, or it is war. There can be no alternative. The only question is, what will you all do? Save your villages or not? We will need time to confer with our advisors on this matter. Stated Gaara. Mifune nods and the 5 groups separate. IWA. Dad, are you sure we haven't overplayed your hand? Asked Kuratsuchi. I had to, Kuro-chan. Too many vested interests back home are pulling for this. If I present my strongest case and nothing happens, we can move on and I can start cleaning house. I'm just lucky that it appears Konoha is on better terms with the other villages. This gives us cover to finally free IWA of its lust for war and revenge. All of that was an act? Of course it was. IWA has been too focused on its past. I was never meant to be a Kage, but I'll do everything I can to make sure it is strong and steady for when you are prepared to lead. But I have to break those factions that are either obsessed with the Namikaze or the faction that simply values war and conquest. Both facets stand in the way of progress, but Grandpa wouldn't have been fixated on Konoha if it weren't a threat. That's not true. Deidara wasn't really a traitor, he infiltrated Akatsuki for your grandfather. When Oenoki learned he was killed by Naruto and saw the obvious resemblance to Minato, something in him snapped. He wanted Deidara to be his successor, but his decisions caused it to not happen. That broke him, Kuro-chan, and he couldn't let go. Oh, is all she could say in response. Kumo, what do you think, B? Going to war with Konoha would be a mistake. Gyuki says Naruto feels different. It reminds him of something very old and very powerful. Konoha could manage a 2-front war with the powerhouses they have. Replied Kurabi, and I knew he was serious by his lack of rhyming. If you fought him alone, could you beat Naruto? I hate to ask it, I like the kid, but Kumo comes first. No. I don't. He has a lot of tricks in his bag before he gets to his Bijou cloak, which I have yet to see, but a Fuinjutsu-wielding sage isn't something to take lightly, and he's gotten stronger since then. He likely knows the Hirishin as well. But Naruto by himself is only one of many problems. Minato is back, Kushina is back, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Hiruzen and Danzo. The last 2 may be old, but they still have a great deal of power and wisdom, potentially 7 Kage-level shinobi, 4 Fuinjutsu masters. Each likely has the ability to restrain Bijou chakra. 2 of them can match your speed, Jiraiya can make it irrelevant. 3 toad summoners, 1 slug summoner. That's just the tip of the poisoned kunai. You'd still have Kakashi to contend with, all of their clan heads and clan heirs. Konoha might be the strongest they've been in years. There's no profit in us going to war. If Kitsuchi pushes this, it will end poorly for IWA. I could only grunt in response. Kiri, the Tsuchikage has overplayed his hand. I see no benefit to joining him. I agree, Mesama. There's not a single reason to get involved over old grudges. They'll have to do this all on their lonesome, replied Ao. The Mizukage hears, single, old, lonesome, and replies, shut up, Ao, or I'll kill you. Suna, when we get home, we will have to fortify our border with IWA. I don't know that Tsuchikage's plan, but if he thinks Konoha will back down, he's sorely mistaken. stated Gaara. Is there more to this? Maybe them attempting to provoke something and gaining allies out of fear of Konoha? Asked Temari. I don't know the new Sasuke, but he seems prideful, too prideful for that kind of play. Especially with how hard he's been in his position, no one will come to his defense when he's asking for it. Konoha, that Sasuke is faking it. Naruto stated simply. His emotions are all wrong, he's acting. He likely wants war no more than you do, being able to sense emotions comes in handy. I'll see if I can talk with him after this, get a real measure of him, replied Tsunade while Minato and Jiraiya nodded in agreement. Mifune soon called the Kage back to the table so the meeting could commence. You have had time to confer with your delegation, so let us please continue. That Sasuke has put forth a call to arms if certain conditions are not met. What do you three unaffected Kage say? Asked Mifune. Kumo votes no to hostilities. Losing the Bijou is a blow, but there is no proof Konoha is doing anything more than being their tree-hugging idealistic selves. Responded I. Kiri also votes no. I've seen enough war for the time being and can't pledge my forces to conjecture. However, I will state that Konoha has decided to free on the Bijou without any input or consideration from any of the major villages is distressing. I don't believe this was a power grab, and you may feel it hypocritical to be admonished given how you came upon them, but isn't demonstrating the ability to prevent future sealings a demonstration of your power? How are the others supposed to respond to that? What could you do next? What your shinobi have done may ultimately be for the best, Lady Hokage. But if you want to achieve that long sought-after peace you always speak of, then please remember the other villages exist as well. Mei stated. Tsunade just managed not to roll her eyes. It should go without saying, but Suna also votes no for hostilities. I need not criticize nor admonish Konoha for its actions, Gaara said, receiving a head nod from Tsunade. It appears we have a consensus. Sachikage Dano, I hope you can heed the words of your fellow Kage and avoid unnecessary strife. If there is nothing else, I call this Gakage summit to a close. Chapter 24, Kushina Comin', or Kushina Coming, is what could be heard by various voices in the clan district as the streets quickly cleared from the red-headed menace. Currently wearing a blue jounin uniform covered by a red trench coat with her katana sticking out the bottom, she has one last stop for the day. During the Gakage summit, Kushina decided to exact some revenge for her Sochikun. As of yet, nothing major beyond vandalism or extreme intimidation has been suffered, but it has become understood that if Kushina is coming for you, she will find you. This leads us to now, as our Crimson Avenger is now in front of the Hyuga compound, which has enacted their siege protocols. Hey, y'all need to open these gates and let me see Hayashi before I huff and puff. Come on now, by the hairs of your chinny chin chin. Kushina said. Kushina-sama, it'd be best if you leave. Our foremost gentle fist users are here. Oh, I think's not, Guard-san, I think's not. Y'all might need to think this through and stop wasting my time. Because Kushina can come back tomorrow. And the next day. And the next day. Oh, and I will put you to the blade behind what happened today. She spoke calmly. Soon the defensive barriers were dropped, and she was granted access, but informed her audience with Heichi she would be brief. She simply stated it was fair enough as she entered the compound. It was a short walk to where Hayashi was currently. He had claimed another room as his study when he was retired as clan head. When she entered the room, her escorts left immediately, and she simply stared into Hayashi's eyes, waiting for something that even Hayashi didn't know. After a moment, apparently seeing what she desired, she took her seat and placed her katana on her lap. I understand you wanted to see me. Even threatened my guards to do so, Hayashi said sternly, making Kushina roll her eyes. They were being extra about all this. It's not like I'm here to murder you. Do I have your word on that? Heh, no, she said, making Hayashi's sweat drop. Shouldn't we at least exchange pleasantries before we get into what I want? I'd rather forego the pretense, especially since I'm not entirely sure you won't run me through with your blade. This blade? Kushina asks, withdrawing it from its sheath. Oh man, I have some stories about this blade, dearie, let me tell you. Oh. Fuck, was Hayashi's thoughts. While Hayashi and the Red Menace were never close, his late wife and her were extremely close. Hayashi, being a proper Hyuga, was sometimes cold and insensitive, and kunoichi or not, Hitomi didn't always take that well and would commensurate with Kushina. Inevitably, Kushina would pay Hayashi a visit and instruct him on how he should change his ways. She always called him dearie, then in such a deceptively sweet tone that one could almost ignore the implicit threat of violence. Hayashi doesn't know why she called him that, and from his understanding she never did that with anyone else. It was creepy and he hated it. Are you still with me, dearie? Kushina asked, seeing the man not paying attention. Yes, of course. Good. Like I was saying, this little lady is my favorite blade. Been with me for years, survived undamaged through most of the war. Did I ever tell you I'm partially the reason Kiri went from widespread kenjutsu use to reserving it for the 7 swordsmen and their apprentices? Apparently, they decided I was a punishment from the gods for their hubris. I always found that funny. Anyway, so it made it through most of the war until I ran into this big, burly bastard. Not much of a swordsman, if I'm being honest, but he tried. On a diagonal swing, my blade chipped on his collarbone. I was quite upset, I tell you. So upset, I proceeded to literally beat his face in. Can you imagine that? Getting that upset over just a sword? Have we reached the moral of your story and the reason behind your visit? That depends. Do you understand the moral of the story? If you were that angered over minor damage to a sword, the anger you must feel over Naruto-san's treatment must be astronomical. Oh, you always were a smart one, dearie. Yes, that's exactly it. Astronomical is so apartment. It's like when I died, everyone decided the rules didn't apply anymore. Decided that old Kushina was beyond your reach. Decided you could use my son and throw him away at your convenience because nothing would happen to you. And now look where we are, dearie, in a small room, with you wondering if I have designs on your life. If everyone had just acted correctly, this wouldn't be necessary, but it appears I need to make examples out of people so they truly understand. Be I dead, comatose, trapped in the moon, it doesn't matter. I will always square things with those that wrong me, in this life or the next. I butchered Kiri, Kumo, and IWA Ninja in retaliation for destroying my family, my home, and you all thought mistreating my Sochi would receive no response. No, dearie, that's not how I'm made. Kushina, I didn't have a problem with Naruto, but I did doubt his chances of a long life. You know the enemies that were after him, one strong enough to kill you and Minato. I didn't want my little girl to become hard and bitter and vacant like I was, and if I had to be a bastard to Naruto to achieve that goal, then my choice was clear. Kushina leaned over the desk and placed her hand on Hayashi's neck. Dearie, I know why you did it, and that's why you won't taste my steel today. Kushina leaned back, sheathed her sword, and started to leave as she saw her seal began to take effect. Don't worry, when you wake up things will be square between us. Unless you don't want that, but remember, I can find you and yours and lot easier than you can find me. As Kushina was leaving Hayashi's study, she ran across a visibly concerned Hinata who was almost startled to see Kushina. Hello, Kushina-sama. I'm sorry I wasn't here to greet you. The compound's security activated the siege protocols and I've yet to find out why. Pfft. No need for that Sama crap. Kushina is fine. And I think I spooked your guards when I dropped by to see Hayashi. Kushina said sheepishly while rubbing the back of her head. He's still alive, isn't he? Of course he is. What kind of question is that? You do have your sword with you, because it gets lonely when I leave without it. My father isn't moving in his office. Heart rate is quite low. Ma, I slapped a seal on him. He'll be fine in a few hours, days at the very most. Why? For a similar reason you ousted him as clan head. Don't worry, I'd never harm Dearie permanently. Your mother would never forgive me. Unless Hayashi had ever attacked Naruto, then I'd have done something really unpleasant. Hinata didn't scare easily, especially since she's gotten over her shyness. Spending copious amounts of time with Enko just solidified it. However, this woman in front of her was starting to border on terrifying. Hyuga guards were not easy to intimidate, and she had apparently done so enough to erect one of Naruto's strongest barriers, and then done it again to make them drop it. She needed to learn how to invoke this level of fear. Ano, Kushina-san, how do you do it? My guards are quite afraid of you. I think part of the problem is that your guards are just soft. Kushina said, causing Hinata to snort. Short of Tsunade's personal ANBU, there weren't many guard details as disciplined as hers. Also, I don't make threats I'm unwilling or unable to carry out regardless of the consequence. People tend to fear things they can't deter, negotiate with, or rationalize away. It helps that I'm a damn good ninja that'll beat the ass of anyone who says otherwise. Kushina said while shaking a fist in the air. Oh, I'll keep that in mind. So, are we good? Of course, sweetie. When Naruto gets back, you'll have to come over for dinner again. Hopefully there won't be any international emergencies and I can finally get that spar with Sochi. I'd like that. Do you need an escort out? Nah, I've been here plenty of times, Databane. See ya around, kiddo. As Kushina left the Hyuga compound, she was considering what to do for the rest of her day, when it hit her. Without Minato around, she could go get tanked with Sim. She resolved to go out with her and Tsunade once she got back and paint the town red. Arriving promptly, Kushina was greeted by the Inuzuka watchman. Hello there. Could you see if Sim is free? Let her know it's Kushina. The watchman was torn, While he knows his clan head and Kushina had been friends, he also knows the red-headed menace has been assaulting clan heads and doesn't want his to be the next on the list. While having this internal debate, Kushina quickly lost patience with the man that refused to heed her reasonable request. You best hop to, guard-san. You have me confused with a woman that likes to repeat herself, databing. Kushina said as her hair started to form 9 tails. Luckily for both parties, Sim was on the grounds and heard her friend's outburst. Kushi-chan, what's going on? I was trying to see if you were free, but your watchman seemed to not want to help with that. Well, you are running around the village like a maniac. It isn't that bad, Sim. Kushina said with a pout. The pair made their way to a local shinobi bar where they continued to catch up. Sim took particular pleasure in recounting Kiba's spar with Naruto, finding it hilarious that the boy ran straight into a water wall. As the hours began to pass, Sim could see something was weighing on her longtime friend and decided to question it. What's bothering Kushi-chan? Kushina, knowing she can't lie to her friend, proceeds to tell her about the frosty relationship between Minato and Naruto. How she feels guilty that Minato takes the brunt of Naruto's resentment, and how she wished she could figure a way to bridge the gap as the distance hurts Minato, and the festering resentment isn't good for Naruto. Maybe you should let them work it out themselves. Sim added after moments of contemplation. I would accept Naruto is stubborn like me and would be okay with leaving things how they are if for no other reason than to spite Minato. Doesn't sound like the Naruto I know. Kid doesn't strike me as one to hold a grudge. For most people regarding most things you would be correct, but regarding Minato you would be wrong. Not only just the ceiling, any mistreatment connected to his status he ultimately blames Minato for, because had he not chose the village over his son, those things would not have happened. I also think by focusing on Minato it keeps him from lashing out at others. Is he still that angry? Not that I'd blame him, I just never realized it. Sim said in concern. No, at least not all the time. It's just certain things cause it to flare up. Like the initial rush for the villagers to apologize, he knows when they are being genuine, and when they aren't, and even if they are truly sorry, is it only because he's Minato's son? He's only worthy via birthright, not because they did something wrong? Yeah. So I'm stuck in the middle, afraid that if I push he'll cut me out too. It isn't like he needs me. You're his mother, of course he does, except he has Tsunade. It's frustrating, Sim-chan. Minato can't give Naruto what he wants and Naruto won't let him in until he does. What does he want? Minato to admit he was wrong, and if he were in that same position he wouldn't do it again. And of course Minato can't do that, but Naruto sees it as he could have protected his son or protected the village, so since he chose the village he doesn't get his son. Talking a little louder than she realized wouldn't normally be a concern. In shinobi bars you pay attention to your business and not that of others. However, this is a special case. Little known to many of the elites in the village is that many in the shinobi forces hold a certain amount of resentment for Naruto. Not because he contains the Kyuubi, but because they feel his progress has been exaggerated and gifted to him instead of earned through merit. Most of his achievements had been witnessed by very few or so highly classified as to never see the light of day. So, for one bitter, drunken jounin to hear that the brat resented the sacrifice of his father, it angered him, enough to interrupt Kushina. You know, that brat's childhood wasn't that bad. It isn't like he was beat every day, and I'm sick of feeling guilty about it. He's had opportunities many of us couldn't imagine, and he has the nerve to resent us. The brat has been gifted his rank, he didn't earn it like the rest of us, only because he was favored. You tell that little asshole anytime he wants to find out what a real jounin is about he can come find me. Throughout the man's little tirade, Kushina's urge to break this idiot had reached an unimaginable level, followed closely by Sim. Both ladies were snapped of their bloodlust by 2 words. Why wait? The bar got quiet, even more so than when the man, Toshikara, started ranting. No one had sensed his arrival, so they don't know how long he had been there, but standing behind Toshi was Naruto. That wasn't a rhetorical question, friend. The well of courage the man contained just moments prior all but vanished. Only his need to save face allowed him to turn toward the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. The container didn't look massive, though a little taller than Toshi himself. His eyes focused, but not only cold. He looked bored to the intoxicated patron. Finally, finding his nerve, Toshi spoke. What was that? Subtle stalling tactic, Toshi thought. Don't stall, friend, I asked you why wait. Or are you reconsidering your invitation? I'm not your friend, not with that attitude you're not. Naruto said with a chuckle. Before the man replied in turn, Naruto cut him off. Well, since it appears you didn't mean your words, I'll forgive you this time. And proceeded to escort Kushina and Sim out of the bar. Wow, Toshi, you really showed him. One patron said to a round of laughs. The embarrassed man couldn't even reply back. When do you get back, Sochi? Just got back and felt both of your negative emotions. Figured you might be in trouble. Breaking up a potential bar fight is not what I had in mind. Kushina sheepishly rubbed the back of her head whilst some blushed in embarrassment. The three continued to walk home until Naruto broke the silence. Hey mom? Yes, Sochi? Why do people keep announcing you're coming and then clearing the streets? Well, is all she got out before Tsum broke down in laughter. Shut it, Tsum team, Dada Bang. Which only caused the Inuzuka clan head to laugh more.